In this video, we are going to be covering stock analysis for stocks that have earnings. So we're going to be covering Rumble and Getty Images, which are releasing tonight. And we're also going to be looking at Home Depot and C, which are going to be releasing in the morning. So again, as well, if you want to check out an AMC video, we did actually upload it before this one. But again, we're going to be looking at Rumble, Getty Images, Home Depot, and C. So to get straight into it, we'll be starting off on Rumble. And we can see this stock kind of staying at near fair value. So you can see we got a 830 top bottom end of the fair value and 918 on the top end of fair value. So we have been range bound for the last basically few months, really this whole year, but been pretty range bound, been quite an easy range bound stock. So again, coming into earnings, our levels aren't too far off because of how range bound this has been. But if we do sell off, we do have supports at 720, 675 and 625. So those are the three main key supports I'm paying attention to on the downside. Again, I probably won't be trading the after hours, but once we come into the open on Monday, if we're coming down at one of these levels, I'm quite happy to potentially take these long and look for that upside move back to fair value at around 830. On the other hand, if this ends up getting bought up and we move up off the earnings release, you have a lot of support around this $9 level. So $9 is obviously a key psychological level. You've then also got the anchored VWAP from June 1st, which is a quarterly anchored VWAP. And then you also have this anchored VWAP from January 1st, so a year-to-date anchored VWAP. And at 920, you then have fair value. So again, four really kind of strong levels at that level. And that's why I think if we go to the upside, we probably won't see as big of a move because you're going to really be halted by this area here. And if we did break that for any reason, we have $9.90 and $10.20 as those upside resistances. So again, on a Rumble, once the earnings come out, we can either look to take these long or these short. Now over to Getty Images, again also releasing after hours today. This stock is a very volatile stock. You went from 820 going back a few months all the way to a low of 340. So this stock can be volatile, and I think with a stock like this, if we go to the upside, can be a great short opportunity. If we push to the downside, I could be long bias on this. Again, I would always do smaller size because these stocks can definitely drop, and they can drop hard. But at 375 and 305, they are two strong supports. So if we're coming into the open and we're holding around those levels, I could be quite happy to take these long, for the main reason being we could go over to the option chain, sell some covered calls on these. And again, if there's a bit of volume on these, which you'll probably see after the earnings release, you can get about 10% off. Or maybe around closer to about 8% off your purchase price by selling out a week or two. So in that case, they can be all right or definitely justifiable purchases if we can get them down at these lows. So that's what I'm looking at on supports. For resistances, we do have fair value and the quarterly anchored VWAP, so from June 1st at around 520. So that would be a key resistance, and if we're able to break that area, we have 585 and $6. So again, this $6 is an anchored VWAP from January 1st, and then you've got the first deviation from the 6-month chart at 585. So again, strong resistances and strong supports. So now going on to Tuesday's pre-markets earnings. Firstly, we have Home Depot, ticker HD. Right now we're sitting at $330. If we go to the downside, we have supports at 317. You have a range between kind of 301 and 310. And if we were able to break that, if there was a massive miss or something, then you have around 293. But I do think those levels are probably quite unlikely. I think the main opportunity we'll be looking at on HD will be a 317 support. And if we start going to the upside, we have a resistance around 344 to 348, which I think could be the upside range we could be paying attention to. If we did somehow break these levels, we have a really strong resistance at 361, and this is where I would be looking at it swing short. Even if the earnings are relatively good, I think it'll be hard to hold this level, and the reason for that is, again, this is our third deviation on the 1 year. Basically, if you've seen this channel before, every time we see these stocks at their third deviations, you know they tend to sell off quite quick, and the reason for that is if you understand standard deviations, you know third deviation means 99.7% of data should trade below that level. Again, it's a stock market, nothing's going to be that accurate, but it does give you a good signal that if a stock is pushing at these highs, you've got quite a good risk to reward to look for the downside play on it. So the last stock we're looking at today is C Limited, ticker SE. Now, not really looking at too much on this stock. It was quite volatile when you go back, especially during COVID times. The stock was great. Nowadays, can still be quite range bound. I mean, you go from December lows of 47 to, I think that's about May highs or April highs of $88. So the stock can still move. So on this earnings release, if we get a move, we have a support at 48.40 and resistances at 68.40. So I mean, again, not looking at anything too crazy on the stock. That would be the resistance, that would be the support that we expect to see and would probably look to trade. If we got some sort of a mega move, we have one extra support at 38.20, which could be potentially a nice long. But overall, I do think we'll probably stay within this range. And again, if only we move to one of these, then I'll look to trade it. If it's quite a lackluster earnings and we kind of stay within that range, then probably not looking to touch this stock at all.